Hello and what's up everyone, Thunderbob here, and tonight I am playing a new game. This is called Encased. This is a sci-fi post-apocalyptic RPG from developer Dark Crystal Games. This came out of early access September 7th into a full release. This has been early access I think for about a year or so, and it's got really positive reviews, and I've put a little bit of time into it, and I've been really impressed by it. I just want to go through the beginning of the game, show character creation, and just the beginning, start of the game. I feel like the introduction and the voice acting and narration and everything is really well done, and I want to demonstrate that to start with, and then jump into some combat. The production values are really high right off the bat, I gotta say. I'm gonna go ahead and do new game. I'm just gonna, there's different difficulties. I'm just gonna do like journey, medium difficulty. There's also, you can go more details, and it shows you in detail what each of the different difficulties actually entail, which is nice. Start game.
1971. We woke up in a different world, where the Cold War ended along with the Vietnam carnage. All because of the Dome. The Dome. A territory full of anomalous artifacts, phenomena, and organisms. We still don't know what it is. An alien city? Some kind of a testing ground or storage? Whatever it is, no living thing trapped under the Dome can escape it. Yet even this did not stop the research. The major powers created the CRONUS Corporation to develop and explore the Dome. Its secrets became a lucrative business. The Spires station was built on top of the Dome to export the artifacts and import supplies and personnel. The city of Crystal Sands grew at the foot of the Dome, eventually becoming a major transportation hub. All this required thousands of employees, and there was no shortage of candidates. Romantics, pragmatists, and adventurers of all trades swarmed recruiting centers around the globe, seeking jobs at CRONUS. You were one of those people. In 1976, your application was approved, and you went under the Dome towards the future. Whether a good one or a bad one, only time will tell.
So that's the introduction. Overall, it's got really a cool vibe to it. It's like an alternate future. Like, imagine if a dome, like Under the Dome from Stephen King, showed up during the Cold War and kind of brought an end to the Cold War, but introduced some new issues to the world. It's full of technology, seemingly alien technology, kind of like Stalker-ish, where you're going in and dealing with anomalies and trying to collect things to take out of the dome area. Alan Woodpecker, that's a good name. So by default, you have pre-made characters you can select from. I think these might be randomized because it looks... No, okay, this was the same one that was there last time. It's not randomized. I prefer to make my own character, and I'm just going to show you briefly. So you can let them go through and detail everything for you, but you get to pick a lot of stuff. My name's Bob. You get your portrait. It's very much in the style of like Baldur's Gate. I love the little portraits they have here. And reminds me of something like Baldur's Gate crossed with Fallout, crossed with Stalker, at least for the setting. Say I'm a 34-year-old male. I'm body type of a man. I am Caucasian. The graphics are not the strong point, I will say that, so don't hold that against it. It is an isometric, turn-based tactical RPG, so you see this mostly from way above. Some nice mustache. gonna go with the clean features. Yep, that's my dude. Now this is kind of cool. There are different wings. So basically, like black wing is like military, orange are like prisoners that are brought in to do kind of menial type things. White, scientists, blue, if I remember right, it's like engineers, silver, and they all have like kind of a backstory here. You get different starting bonuses for each of these. Black wing is kind of like the military muscle. They get extra muscle and fortitude, heavy weapons skills, hand-to-hand, piloting. Orange gets additional encumbrance. They have criminal rating, survival rating, and all of these have different impacts on the game. White, you get high-tech weapons, medicine, science. Blue, and what I also noticed, I started out on my playthrough doing black, and like everyone treats you differently because you're this military guy when most everyone else is like science or engineering. And they kind of are like, why are you here? This is supposed to be a scientific endeavor. It's really interesting, like how much they've built it out, depending on what you select. I want to see what people treat me like if I go with, like, the scientist. Now, you pick stats. When I went with the black wing, my muscle was maxed out. But now, as I picked white, like, it's with, like, brains, psyche, which is, like, your psychic abilities and your resistance towards them. There's so many things to pick. You could spend a day just setting up your character. I really love the system they've got here. Even though I'm not super far into it, like even just the short time I've spent with it, it's really, really cool. So that's hit points. I feel like I'm gonna not be able to carry anything with a 1 in muscle. Affects action points, critical hit chance, contraptions, and piloting. So here you can see like how it's impacting you. With 1 point, I've got 94 encumbrance. So each point gives you 3 additional or so encumbrance and some extra health. Fortune looks like a 2% critical chance per point, plus some extra detection time. It's interesting. Alright, I'm just gonna go with this for the moment. I don't know if I'm gonna play this character all the way through, but I just wanted to start from the beginning, kind of show it off. You get to tag 3 skills, and these get like an immediate big bump up, enough to get your like your first abilities. So this guy already started with decent high-tech weapons. I feel like I should star that one. It gives you energy pistol, cryo slayer, supersonic, and spray. Now I get to pick 2 more. You got combat and you got applied. Combat, you know, is combat abilities, it's weapons and whatnot. Applied seems to be like your tech, your communication type things that impact out of combat. I feel like for this character he would go with tech, heavy, high-tech weapons, and maybe psionics. That sounds cool. Yeah, sounds like a good start for this character. And then you get to pick traits. 1 trait. These are really interesting. You know, Slacker, you get perk points +2 at the start of the game, but then leveling up, you get fewer skill points. So you have like kind of a better beginning. For example, Dark lower damage, +20% for each companion in the party, but your companion's ability is lower. Vampire fatigue -400 when killing an enemy. Stun for the next round. So like each of these, some of them have bonuses and negatives. Gun fanatic, you have less initiative, but all of your weapons are better. Yeah. So this one, your critical hit chance is better, but all of your base damage is lower. So maybe if you're going for critical hit based build, you might go this. Yeah. So spirituality, lower damage, but all of your non-damage things seem higher. Your resistances. You might go gun fanatic. Gives me way more high-tech weapon ability, and then also I'll have lightened weapon, because early on I have a feeling I'm not going to get high-tech weapons. And I'm good to start. And I want to see how this is different from my starting with one of the black or the military starting guys. Like, each of these characters, when I talked to them, treated me, you know, certain ways based on who I was.
A tall woman is watching an ad playing on the monitor, arms crossed. The polished to a shine badge on her black overalls reads Elsa Olafsson, Security Service.
I really love the narration and voice acting, though it seemed like the narration and voice acting was limited to some of like the critical path kind of characters. I definitely came across, even just playing a short while, characters that were not voice acted, but it seemed like most of the important ones, they were voice acted.
She glances at you and offers her hand in a businesslike manner.
Greetings. Please take all necessary precautions. By that I mean, don't turn your back on him.
Elsa nods at the orange.
I just follow orders. Even if his crime was embezzlement, I have to keep him cuffed. Those are the rules.
Olafsson shrugs in a sharp, mechanical way, as if racking the slide of an assault rifle.
So you can see, like, this character, her affiliations, her hit points. Looks like you can barter, you can bribe them. And also, you can actually highlight over certain words, and it'll give you, like, a definition.
Our friends from the administration didn't deign to inform me about this man's record. Could be I'm escorting a serial killer. It's corporate policy, you know.
She gives the silver a vengeful look.
If I was silver, I would have this option available also.
The orange is dressed in a new jumpsuit. The shiny badge on his chest reads Quentin Bisley. He's side-eyeing the screen skeptically. Despite his tired, grim expression, his gaze is... The orange's face stretches into a broad smile, bearing his dentures to the world.
Like everyone, duh. In a black car, under guard. There's other guys, too. The ones who go through the front door.
He nods at the black-winged woman beside him. Her nose wrinkles in displeasure, but she's... Quentin raises his hands to examine the devices.
They call them humane handcuffs. How about that? Truth is, there ain't nothing humane about them. They zap you real hard the moment you get your hands on a gun. But they sure look nice.
Bisley lowers his hands again and smirks.
Yeah, definitely there are a few differences now that I'm playing as a different character.
CRONUS Foundation presents gleaming, futuristic, state-of-the-art cities straight from the pages of sci-fi.
A guy wearing thick spectacles thrusts out a sweaty...
So he's from the Silver Wing,
Monty
which
Jones,
is
Silver Wing.
administrative and bureaucratic.
He glances down at your badge.
Ah, it's you. I found your file extremely interesting. And your CV, wonderful. Inspiring, really. When I had the opportunity to look over the files of my future colleagues, I couldn't resist. I don't want to sound boastful, but silver level clearance has its advantage.
Monty makes a ring with his thumb and forefinger.
You were number 63,784 on the waiting list, but you were lucky enough to get into the dome after only 16 months. Besides that, zero, nada, absolutely nothing. You're a dark horse for both the Foundation and myself.
The silver shakes your hand for some reason.
In that case, I congratulate you heartily. You made the right choice. There are enough miracles here for 100 doctorate theses.
The forefathers are a community of ancient and incomprehensible creatures who built the dome and everything inside it. Nobody knows what they looked like, where they came from, or where they've gone. It sounds a lot like some of my favorite sci-fi books. You know, things like... gosh, what did I just read? The Hichi series, where they find this space station out in space full of abandoned, you know, alien objects, and they try to make them work. It's kind of a trope in sci-fi, but I love all that stuff. Asimov, Heinlein, Herbert, Vonnegut. I love classic sci-fi. That's, I think, why this story and why the game kind of appeals to me so much.
An uncomfortable silence rises between you, and Monty abruptly changes the subject. He taps the narrow illuminator panel with one finger.
Look, there's a storm rising. The lightning is strange. Green.
The thin, pale young woman is sitting at the window.
We've crossed the border. No way back now. Even traveling by the funicular wasn't so thrilling.
The white presses small hands to her blushing cheeks.
You were thinking, why have no children been born under the dome? I've got a working hypothesis, but I'm not ready to share it yet.
She says softly. Kimura peers through the glass in the direction you indicate.
Oh, that's the aircraft that crashed into the dome during the first expedition. I believe that's a wing fragment, and there's some white canvas. What do you think that is? Maybe a parachute?
The white shakes her head, bewildered.
I just can't believe it. It's all true.
Kimura shoots you a surprised look.
You're familiar with the details of the briefing, right?
The white draws an invisible hemisphere in the air.
Inorganic objects may exit the dome without difficulty, but any living creature dies if transported back to the outside world. That's why we're all
Basically,
stuck
they
here for
go
an
in, they
indefinite
get
period of time.
alien technology, and then they send it out, but the people who go in, they don't come out.
Kimura listens without interrupting, as if considering your...
That wasn't an option when I went through with the military character.
It's quite possible. I would like to set up an experiment to test this in practice.
She cuts off, abruptly. You exchange glances with the rapidly blushing Kimura.
Not in that sense. I mean, yes, in that sense, but it is science, you know? It's quite serious.
She blushes even more.
Yeah, thanks.
Very clever writing. I like it.
A man with a mustache and a blue jumpsuit is standing at the window. The blue taps on the glass with one finger and gestures you to come and take a look. Seems like he does. Stopping by the door's porthole, you watch as the ground slowly approaches. It looks brown-black through the tinted glass and smoky blue at the horizon. It almost seems like the clouds are pulling apart there. You scan the desert for any sign of the anomalies you've heard so much about. A flat, dark form hangs in the air above the horizon. It vaguely resembles a mushroom cloud, but with a much denser structure. In the distance, you can also see a strange, apparent... Just as you're about to move away from the window, you notice a whirlwind beginning to form above the ochre plain. The gathering storm drifts unhurriedly above the desert, a crown of green lightning flashing at its core. Clearly no ordinary weather phenomenon. It must be one of those anomalies. You freeze by the window, unable to avert your gaze. The outlines of the landing site, blurred by clouds of dust, appear behind the greenish glass of the port.
I love the narration. It's great. Like, whoever that voice actor is, if you ever watch this video, top-notch work. It's such an intriguing kind of world. It's on Earth, but it's so, like, foreign and alien.
Come here. Come on now, or you'll miss everything.
A badge reading Ludovico Nuzzi, scientific analyst, export department, dangles loosely on his clean uniform.
Look over there.
He points upward with a sharp, wide jet. You raise the binoculars to your eyes. Under fourfold magnification, the whirling cloud above the rust-colored plains looks even stranger. Nuzzi bends close to your ear.
Fascinating. I don't know.
Ludovico laughs. With the binoculars raised to his eyes, he minutely adjusts the focus.
It's a massive whirlwind north of Concord. And not merely...
Nuzzi looks from you. He flings his arms up.
Oh, yeah. A storm.
Even just, like, the introduction to the world, like, makes me want to play more. And I'm excited that it's actually a full release. So many of these games I get access to.
Would you bring me a cup of coffee, please?
And,
Colleague? Well,
you know, it's early access and a year away. And, like, I don't really want to put a couple hours into something that I can't play for potentially a year. So it's kind of nice to have this game completely out. Though Diablo 2 Resurrected comes out in like a week and a half, and I'm really, really dying to get into that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat this before then. We'll see.
Oh, hello.
If I do, I'll do a review for it, definitely. But that gave me a quest.
It was nice chatting.
So I can buy stuff here.
Just right, Mr. Monty James.
So like WASD will let you move around the game world. Mouse wheel will let you zoom in and out. You can, with Q and E, rotate the game world. Definitely feels a lot like those old CRPG games like Baldur's Gate.
A tall receptionist watches you from behind his desk. The employee glances at you indifferently.
All new employees must register first thing.
The administrator slaps himself on the forehead.
Ah, I almost forgot the regulation pre-registration greeting.
Rayhet produces a reel-to-reel tape recorder from beneath the desk, rewinds the tape to the beginning, and presses play. The speakers explode with a harsh, crackling sound. Solemn music begins to play, and the administrator's face takes on a serious expression.
Dear employee, on behalf of the CRONUS Foundation, I, Administrator Dean Rayhet.
The administrator clears his throat and continues.
By joining our company, you choose the path of science.
Dean squints down at the monitor.
Deserve this type.
The music fades, and the administrator finishes. Dean puts the tape recorder away.
Now that we're done with the official greeting, I'll register you and upgrade your selection.
Dean's hands hover over the keyboard. The administrator squints at the paper. Rayhet scans the computer screen.
So your position in the waiting list was 63,784.
Dean snaps the docking. The administrator returns your selectron.
CRONUS was founded as a society of scientists and military professionals. White Wingers have special privileges at most of the original locations built in 71 and 72.
Dean continues.
All new employees have a short list of tasks to perform.
Rayhet snorts.
To make it short, get your uniform from storage, your weapons from the armory, pass the Psi abilities test, and complete your weapons training at the training zone. Then learn how to use the scanner, avoid anomalies, and properly catalog anything you observe.
Dean sits back in his armchair. Rayhet reaches. As he's about to turn away, Dean suddenly remembers something.
Don't touch that door. What do you want?
See, like, this one is not narrated, so it seems like some of, like, the side or less important characters are not.
Have a good one.
Yeah, I was curious. I was able to go through her there when I was the black character, which seemed to be because I was military, but she also lets you go through, so maybe it wasn't just because of that.
Behind the storage counter, you see a small, neat guy. The silver perks up at your approach. The silver finally stops and pins down a particular page with his finger. Maynard adjusts his glasses in a businesslike manner.
Before I give you the uniform.
Sidney fiddles with his hairstyle.
That's why it's important to wear protective equipment when traveling outdoors.
He points back at the shelves behind him.
We've got repair kits for this gear. There are Blue Wing specialists ready to help you at any large base.
Sidney rests the logbook. The silver disappears. Unfolded. Sidney proudly shakes out a He raises a finger.
One more important thing. In accordance with Order 16-225, helmets and gloves are not issued, but they're available for purchase from me. Please bear in mind that a full set includes headgear or a mask, jacket, trousers, gloves, and boots.
So they recommend, but they sell them to you.
Sidney
That's
hands
nice.
you the package.
Here's your uniform.
Put some pants, put on some shoes. Can I just... I can. Got some money.
Anything
So you
urgent,
can
Mr. Krachkov?
double tap to move a little bit quicker.
The smell of good tobacco wafts off this tall, portly woman from a meter away. A black lacquered. The woman fixes her coppery hair with one hand. Margarita thumbs back a couple of pages. She glances at her Kairos. Tukachenko returns a couple of minutes later, carrying something that looks more like a toy than a weapon. The weapon seems weightless as she spins it around her finger.
I ain't telling you shit about this thing, because that's exactly how much I know. Laser, schmazer, cadmium battery, fiberglass body, blah, 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 blah. You
This is my
probably know
turf
more
now.
about it than I do. Here.
Margarita drags on her pipe and releases a puff of thick. Tukachenko bites down on the stem of her pipe.
Are you kidding me? I'm a different breed. One that doesn't understand toy.
The black regards the Andromeda suspiciously.
Fuck it. If it breaks, bring it back and I'll trade it in for another one. There was a little cloth in the box it came in, cleaning the lens. That's all I
Wonder if
know.
I bribe her. So you give them like gear, it seems like, or money. It's funny.
The armorer shrugs, puffing in.
Wait a minute. Sign your name here in the meantime.
Margarita reaches under her counter and produces a set of ammunition.
A new set of ammo is issued for every task, but there's so much bureaucracy you'll go daft.
Leaning over the counter, the black points somewhere off to one side.
But before the training zone, go see that wizard guy with his toothpicks. Be careful. Don't touch that door.
Alright, sorry.
Well, you've got quite an order.
A lean silver with thick black hair, and as you approach, he flashes a sly. Something really weird happens. All the paper clips, pencils, scattered toothpicks, and bits of trash float up from the table and hang in the air. You thrust your hand forward, and your outspread fingers emit barely visible sparks of energy. Pencils, paper clips, toothpicks, and pistachio shells dance chaotically in the air. The silver sticks out his lower lip as if to say, "Not bad, not bad."
Here for the briefing, huh? Shall we get to it?
He takes the cigar out of his mouth and exhales. The silver props his elbows on the table.
Anyway,
Not waiting for an answer, he grabs your hand with strong, dark fingers. Andre gropes your hand with an expression of fierce The silver takes a thin glove covered in talc from his desk and passes it to you.
look, a glove, right? But it isn't just a glove. This is...
He counts off on his fingers.
Learn psionics. Put on the glove. Transform energy into the necessary...
The silver takes a pull at it.
Psionics. It's a gift for all of us. The forefathers took off someplace. Poof, gone. Only the dome remains. And this... psionics, huh?
He rocks back in his armchair, puffing on his cigar. The toothpicks again slowly rise up from the table. Mihai spreads his dark hands. Toothpicks hover around his head in a kind of halo.
Scientists say everyone has an organic skill called psyche. You have it, I have it,
You don't have to ask him twice. Mihai picks up the filament begins to glow faintly. In a little over a second, the bulb is shining with a steady white light. The silver laughs, contented.
You got a really detailed map here. Shows you where you are in the dome overall. Get your reputation. Data, that's what I was looking for. Main quest. So much to this. Acquire a uniform, acquire the means of self-defense, undergo site training, undergo scanning, go to the landing zone and wait for the bus.
relics carefully. In case of damage,
I'll complain to the Silvers about that idiot. They'll take the appropriate...
As you reach to open the sliding door, an engine...
You're a newcomer, right?
The technician slaps the door with one hand.
You have to wait until I'm done.
Penkovsky grunts angrily. Maxime extracts...
Though there's another way. You want to learn something about picking locks? So you...
Penkovsky shrugs.
Pick this lock specifically as much as you like. But in general, yes, it can be illegal if you try to get in where you shouldn't be, or open other people's lockers. No one will get upset if you touch an ownerless door.
The blues getting... Penkovsky presses his pick lock.
Using a mechanical pick lock is easy peasy.
He gives you a quick lesson.
By the way, you can carry your tool... Actually...
The blue solemnly raises his index finger.
And one more thing. Always use brand name stuff if you can. Groove...
He looks at the door again.
Damn these locks.
Penkovsky gives you a patronizing...
So, lockpick.
I repeat, get a lockpick and attach it to your utility belt. You're doing great. All right, off you go.
Welcome under the
I'll
dome.
keep working
An
on this
amazing
lock.
excursion to a world of new technology and the riddles of an
It sound
ancient
like
civilization.
people will be angry if I
Wings,
pick their lock
fancy-
without their permission, or like if it's someone's lock.
You see a tall scientist in a white light. The man turns at your footsteps. He's holding a paper clipboard and a pencil. His shimmering silver badge reads Sebastian Van Olden. He glances from you to the glittering watch on his wrist. Finished with his unusual greeting, the scientist puts the clipboard. He shows you his watch dial.
According to the rules of this briefing, I have to touch on a large number of...
Sebastian produces his hand. The instructor, he places a canvas pouch in your... Van Olden pushes a button on his stopwatch.
So, my oral briefing fell within the allotted span of time.
Sebastian snorts skeptically.
Oh, great. You're even ignorant of... The Minerva disk stores the database containing every piece of information about the dome and the...
The scientist, he rests one finger on the button in preparation. He smoothly extracts a...
in case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Please stand by for decontamination to end.
This stuff definitely reminds me of Baldur's Gate 2, like, just very cool artwork for the isometric view. And this works in ultra-wide beautifully.
Gestures back at the eco.
I've got a scan.
Be careful around the anomalies. Touch one of them and you'll be injured. Toss a bolt of journal entry. A successful scanning attempt. You're doing all right so far. Go ahead. I'll keep an eye on you and make sure...
Getting some radiation.
Journal entry. 2 objects scanned. And again, watch out for anomalies. Touch one and you'll be injured. Toss a bolt at the anomaly to discharge it.
Eek.
Journal entry. All 3 objects have been successfully scanned. Come upstairs, employee.
He said to toss a bolt, but it didn't seem to do anything to that one. I don't like that you don't actually climb, you just kind of teleport up. It's a little lame.
Sebastian meets you on the platform. He clicks the stopwatch button, fixing the result time. The scientist turns back to his notes.
Not bad.
The scientist assumes a superior expression.
I knew you'd come up.
He glances at the shimmering blue light in the eco zone.
The truth is, we don't know the precise reason for these phenomenon either.
Sebastian points a thin finger at the clustered lightning. Van Olden clasps his hands behind his back.
I know you don't care, but I'll...
The white...
think did I do everything he wanted? I think so. Probably gonna end this pretty soon. I do have the wife and daughter coming home soon, and I gotta make dinner. I know there's one more cool thing I kind of wanted to show off.
And receive a colorful leaflet.
Which is, if I come through this way, there's like a interesting story bit here. That's probably where I'll end it. I know there's not like a lot of combat or action at this part, but I feel like it kind of introduces you more to the world and like some of the early mechanics. I'll probably do a video later to show off, you know, some of the combat, and if I actually beat the game, if I get deep into it, I'll probably do like a full-on review. But this is not an action-packed game. It's closer to something like Baldur's Gate, Fallout. Though Fallout was, the original Fallout 1 and 2 had a fair bit of action. It's more like Baldur's Gate, where there's a lot of like navigating the world and interacting with characters, and less like, you know, less battles, less action.
Stop fiddling with the lock.
Attention, attention. Please handle weapons carefully.
Employee, please come here. There's an urgent task for you. I'm all ears. The giant display glows welcomingly when you approach. A red light comes on under the screen. A gray old man with high cheekbones appears and squints out at you from the screen.
Do you copy?
He leans close to the camera, his glasses glittering.
My name is Martin Kingsley. I'm Chief Officer of Magellan Base. We were supposed to meet in person, but unforeseen circumstances prevented that. One moment. I'll grab your file.
He reaches for something out of view and produces a thin folder with your name on the cover. Apparently, your file. He marks one of the pages with a pencil.
White Wing. You know, I have a great deal of respect for our science division, and I find the people intriguing as well. I shouldn't ask, but how did you come to choose this profession?
Martin taps his pencil on the desk, considering what to write.
I'd like to believe that your understanding of your mission includes more mundane, down-to-earth tasks as well.
Kingsley closes the file and folds his hands, and he assumes a serious expression.
When the dome was discovered in 1971, it became a scientific and media sensation.
Kingsley drums his fingers on the unseen desk, his gaze focused somewhere beyond.
I see. You were enticed here by radio advertising, telefilms, and all those interviews, billboards at every turn. CRONUS wants the world to see the dome as a stage where something merry and fascinating is going on. But now that you're actually here, I want you to see the real picture.
You can't make out his eyes behind the glare on his spectacles, but he seems to be staring directly at you.
Here's the truth. Nobody was waiting for us inside the dome. It's neither a treasury of technologies nor a cemetery of the ancients. Perhaps what we're doing now is defusing the world's most complicated bomb. Will our mission thrive? I believe so. If we work together and everybody does their part.
He looks back at your file.
I say, do what must be done. Because that's what the concept of the 5 wings is all about.
Kingsley points at the camera.
You're from White Wing, and everybody else, even I myself, is working to allow you to do your part. But the inverse is also true.
Putting the folder aside, he sits back and Kingsley sighs quietly.
You were probably waiting for some boilerplate welcome speech. but
Martin nods slowly.
I apologize once again for this long-distance meeting. Now, as we don't have much time, I'd like to get to the point.
He moves closer to the camera.
I'm going to show you a short video. Please pay attention.
Kingsley's face freezes on screen.
I have an urgent mission for an employee of your background and qualifications.
Martin noisily clears his throat.
Maybe you've heard about Nashville Base. While preparing the materials for this mission, I came across a short documentary film about the complex. I think you should watch it.
The speakers produce a hollow click. You're not really interested in the movie. Instead, you eye the austere interior of the guard room. The switches on the panel.
I didn't do that last time,
the
but it's
dusty
interesting.
window facing out on a well-lit storage area. The speaker's voice seems to come from a distance. In November of 1973, a massive network of underground caves and a structure of hitherto unseen complexity was discovered in Sector C-12. Soon afterwards, the construction of C-12 Nashville began. The camera glides through dim caverns as the silhouettes of bizarre mechanisms emerge. The speaker continues. C-12 Nashville is an innovative research complex located atop the primary relic mining location. The complexity of this object is unique. The film abruptly cuts out, and Kingsley's face reappears.
The rest of this information is classified. Hopefully you get the main idea.
Martin adjusts his glasses.
So, the task. Nashville Base stopped transmitting and receiving signals yesterday evening. A reconnaissance group was sent out earlier today, but we haven't heard anything from them.
The chief officer rubs his forehead.
Normally, I would never give this task to a newcomer like yourself, but I just don't have enough people.
He looks down at the documents again.
Furthermore, the group was lacking someone with your specialization. It has been reported that nearby anomalous zones are unusually active.
Kingsley is looking into the camera once more. The chief officer carefully returns the documents to the folder. You notice his hands tremble slightly.
Go downstairs. The truck must be waiting for you in storage. This task is urgent.
Kingsley's hand.
Okay, so I gotta get the truck and get out of here. Just taking everything. These type of games, that's what I do. I just steal everything I can. Can I unlock that?
You want me to go back out there?
Those are the rules, Todd. Nothing I can do about it. Sorry.
Damn it. Well, I guess I'm going back to Campbell then. Hey, can you spare a cig? I'll have a puff to pass the time until the storm. It's my last one. You're a heartless soul. Did I tell you that before? Well, I'm telling you again.
Is it this one?
Glad to meet you. Bye-bye.
I'm gonna just save here in case I missed anything I can't remember.
Welcome back.
So if I had that, I think I could just drive. Yeah, very much like Fallout, where it just kind of like takes you there, can't leave. I'm assuming there might be like some random encounters at times too.
The highway leading to C-12 Nashville is blocked by an anomalous storm. Clara lifts up the hood.
The engine's boiling, so we'll have to wait. You do know what happens when a car boils, right? It's...
The Blue shuts her mouth abrupt. The Blue looks at the engine again.
We wait. As soon as it cools down, we'll go. This storm worries me more, but it's not an insurmountable...
See if I can get into some quick combat here. It's a sizable map. There's not like a huge open world that I've seen. It's more like you're navigating between these kind of hubs.
Who the hell goes there? Come on in, since you're already here.
So the shop is all closed.
Oh, hello there.
Very much product of the times.
Why should we depend on
Vietnam War, the Cold War, all that stuff. About a block pick. Getting some stuff. There's the crafting bench if you want to make something. Yeah, they didn't check. Side gloves. I do have to go and start dinner, so I think I'm going to end it here. I will almost certainly do some follow-up. I'm really intrigued by this game at the moment. I really am digging the game world and this type of game. I haven't seen a good one, like really well-built one in a while, and I'm like, the reviews on this have been really good. The world they've built here seems really intriguing. If you're into like old school CRPGs, but you want something with a bit more of a sci-fi feel to it, which I don't think there have been a lot of them, I think this might be a game that you might enjoy. If you've played this and you want to leave me a comment about it, maybe about what kind of build I should be going for, what I should be putting points into, let me know, as I'm a huge noob at this at the moment. And thank you for watching, everyone. Have a great day.